Hello, dear teacher. My name is Edgar Flores, and this is our group. Now we are going to share our answer about the documentary New York 15 years after September 11. So let's start. First question. Have Americans overcome the September events? Probably a larger percentage have not yet. After 15 years, Americans have not overcome it, nor have they forgotten it, because they are still traumatized by the attacks and by the deeply divided society, because it was a traumatic situation in which many people died. But because so many years have passed, I think some are beginning to forget the events. Now it's Kerixma turn.
Okay, there is a phrase on the documentary that makes me think deeply. The phrase is, the structural void has been filled, but the psychological trauma is still here, still there. And it's just since 9/11, nothing has been the same to them. Everything has changed. There is a lot of people with traumas, like Dennis Frederick. He suffers from a post-traumatic stress syndrome. He takes 22 pills every day. So I don't think the Americans um, could overcome the whole events of 9/11.
Okay, now it's Jamie's turn.
The Americans have not yet overcome 9/11 because after that they live with uncertainty about what may happen and thinking when they will attack again. In addition, many people who witnessed the event were left scarred and traumatized. They have been invaded by terror.
Okay, now it's Lady's turn.
Okay, now, they starlight the aftermath of that horrible day. Some people suffered traumatized, others have been stigmatized for their Muslims. Also, other people lost their family in this war, and other fear that this situation to happen again.
Okay, Suleima, now it's your turn.
More intense bounties and people did the world's train centers towards and money on Tonset what escaped the bullets remaining serious travels. One of them is Redey Dennis French. He was in the city the bullet towards and helps sap many levies. Today the 40 worked years old cannot price himself fit to visit crops of zero alone. He was on it at return the world after 9/7.
Okay, now it's the question number 2. Are Americans still concerned about terrorist threats? Of course, as they say in the video, after that terrorist attack, everything changed. And I think, from my point of view, people after that attack are more distrustful and insecure in their jobs inside the buildings. Thank you. Now is Kerigma's turns.
Well, I think American is still concerned about terrorist threats because the biggest change is the mindset. They're bracing themselves from the next attack. Um, they think they spent from Disneyland to a frightening world. So yeah, American is still concerned about terrorist threats.
Okay, Amy, now it's your turn.
Okay, I think that yes, Americans are still concerned about terrorist threats and associate them with Arabs and Muslims, which has led to these people being discriminated against in this country. Americans have felt vulnerable since that they and now invent more security and defense model than ever before. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, lady, it's your turn.
Yes, the country is divided. There are people who want the peace, but there are people who fear it will happen again.
Okay, Suleima, it's your turn.
Yes, American remain concerned that terrorists tend to have the sentences of the secrets that the North vigilant heaven cheers Arthur, but the report David Morland was recorded every 70 and now post a night to 7 recursive word with the camarade side we heard the brink attention and the word on the drunk about the walls suppens the that any moment the wit tabatit and the this story of the an stuffer repeated in the self. Thank
And
you.
finally, Suleima, it's your turn. Hello? Suleima? Suleima, are you there?
Yes, the live in the of the violent Americans and music have the cheats since September 7 in the US. President Camp Summer don't catch it of the total bat of the entire music in the country.
Thank you. Okay, question number 3. How Muslims and Americans live changed after the September 11 events? Yes, okay. The life of the Muslims changed in terms of discrimination. Many began to receive threats to be discriminated and humiliated for being of this race. There were even police abuses by the state, and in this case of Americans, after the events of September 11, they are more careful, cautious, and distrustful, and try to be attentive to the people around them. Okay, Kerigma, it's your turn.
Okay, after 9/11, prejudice and discrimination increased. Both liberal and conservative American Muslims have felt marginalized. A lot of Muslims had been arrested, killed, and deported. Aber Kawa's father was arrested and deported. They living as a family separated. As Aber must have many children ashamed of their identity because people's perception about it. So yeah, the the discrimination to Muslims is a lot after 9/11 events.
Please, Jamie, your answer.
For 15 years after that event, Muslims have suffered discrimination by Americans. They are afraid and even more when these things happen to the point of not leaving their home and interaction with each other. Americans have prejudices towards these Muslim communities, and after 9/11, these prejudices increased.
Okay, lady, it's your turn.
The Muslims have been to face discrimination of Americans, and many they have been imprisoned for being associated with terrorists, and they later have been deported. This situation has separated families. For the Americans, the perception of security changed. They have been trained, and the people that like the attacks have been big problems for continuing their normal life. Some Americans as most patriotic since the 9/11 attacks.
Suleima, give me your answer.
Yes. The lives of the Boeing's Americans and Muslims have changed since September 7 as the US President consumers Donald Trump cicatrice memories in the America. Specializations Moody's calle for the country Muslims already living the field discriminate against and subjecting in the world. Subvention
Okay,
lies
now,
our sound.
okay, question number 4. What is the American government doing to reduce the threat feelings of the community? Americans have always tended to exclude others who are not native to the country, such as Latinos, Orientals, and especially this time Muslims, and especially after the September 11 attack. But the government has increased investment in the security of the country to try to eliminate little by little the feeling of insecurity of American civilians. Kerigma, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you. Well, American society is deeply divided after 9/11 events. So the issue of Muslims integration has become a polarizing thing. But the government tried to enhance security measures, and on the other hand, try to monitor everyone.
Okay, the next, please. Jamie.
Although there is a division between liberal and conservative politicians and between the same American communities for not knowing whether to leave or expel the Muslim communities of the country. The Americans are investing enough money in the defense and security of the country to reduce the feelings of threats within their communities.
Okay, please, lady.
Okay, and the polarization that country lies, it affects the well-being of the community immigrants, but this is so many complex. The government have been fully prepared to deal with a new wave of international terrorism. They have invested in security. Americans accept increased government surveillance and more spending on national defense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Suleima.
Yes. While the government responded to September 7 with the imprudent security measures and the theft, they monitor everyone. Now, those have experienced years of minuses and subversion, patriotism, and civic freedom, relation and tolerance, educate and the sense de justice.
Okay, question. Thank you. Question number 5. What is the opinion of some politicians about war after September 11? Some politicians believe that the war on terrorism will never end. So what really matters is that the government be prepared for this type of attack, so that there will be no more massacres like September 11. Thank you. Karigma.
Thank you. Well, I just have an opinion by Donald Trump. He calls for a total ban of Muslims entering the country. So I think that this kind of opinion just increase the discrimination. So it's really bad.
Thank you, Karigma. Now is just Jamie's turn.
Politicians say that war have raged for generations, but what is important is that a sustainable strategy emerging and developed within the state for American communities. They also say that the United States reaction to possible attack will depend on the magnitude of the threats.
Okay, thank you. Lady, please give me your answer.
According to your opinions, some politicians use trauma people in their speeches to gain followers, something like a politics of fear. Thank you.
Okay. Suleima, please give me your answer so we finish the meeting.
The opinions of some politicians about wars after September 7. These wars would last for generations. For Americans, the experience the vulnerability in their own country can the choice. Politicians respond with the determination. But the advance Israel Iraq is establishing not only the country itself, but also the religion, with the risk of the
Okay.
catching
Mm,
Islam on the power is Iraq and Syria. The Arab of Islamic terrorists has the ground around the world. For General David Petraeus, who the commandant moves for the Iran for the aren't protect these anti-conflicts than they last for generations. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you, everyone, and see you later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.